copy this. They unplug your stuff. They didn't know this. Is this always in the bottom blue or the bottom pink instead of the green? Yeah, we didn't know that. I'm worried they unplugged this. So that should. I just noticed the cables down here were pulled out.
There's these loop back. Should we try this?
No, because that's the
I use
that one.
There's no other loop back.
Gotta be a loop back device.
Are you starting to? Ah, there it is. There it is. It's working now.
Which one did we take?
The first one, the USB, the one we had.
Oh, you got more?
I
Oh,
don't know why it's the first time.
we're good. I'll mute again.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Shane. Thank you.
Okay, we'd like to welcome everyone to our city council meeting on November 7th, 2023. It's at 7 o'clock. I am Scott Brackham. I am the mayor pro tem. The mayor is out of town, and so I'll be conducting the meeting. If you wish to speak, fill out a public comment card, as we have 2 items for public comment tonight. If you would like to specify whether you want to be just a general citizen comment or whether you want to make a public comment specific to the transportation master plan, just indicate that on the card and we'll get them sorted appropriately. Our first item on the agenda, the second item, I guess, is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I've asked Councilmember Burrell if she would lead us in that.
Would everyone please stand and follow with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag.
May have done that our last meeting, but hey, it's important that we get it done each time. All right. If I do happen to call your name and you wish to speak on the transportation master plan, just let me know and I'll put your card into that pile. I would remind everyone that we have a 3-minute time frame allotted. The mayor has made it a practice to keep that fairly strict. So if you need to go beyond that, wrap up the sentence that you're on, and then you're always welcome to send an email to the council afterwards. I know we received a few comments prior to this meeting beginning. You had 3 or 4, Tim, is that correct?
That is correct. And I'll, at the end of the comment, unless you want me to do it now, I'll read those into the record.
Okay, that's fine. We'll do that afterwards if you remind me. First I have John Kennington.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. My name is John Kennington. I live in Apple Valley in District 4, and I'm a retired civil engineer. First, I appreciate the fact that from what I've seen as a cyclist, that the plan, the the Cottonwood Heights transportation plan has many active transportation projects with bike lanes and multi-use roadways. I appreciate that. And the plan alludes to an emphasis on safety. However, the plan seems somewhat car-centric, as all the projects appear to be on road right-of-ways and there are no off-road projects, like a way for pedestrians and cyclists to get to the town's east side, from the east side, down the quieter 7200 South Road to the Target and Home Depot commercial area. That's an example of an off-road project. As such, I would recommend that council take a pause in voting to approve the present plan and allow the city's PTOS Active Transportation Subcommittee a chance to review the TMP for suggestions to improve safety for all citizens with slower speeds and traffic calming measures in key areas. Also, the Department of Transportation's safe systems and Vision Zero approaches may have relevance in design decisions. The TMP document I've seen seems to be short on concept details of mixed use roadway design. Also, a pause in approval may be prudent until we have a better definition on what's happening with the Hillside Plaza design, where the 15-minute city concept may be influential, and the gravel pit project, as the sleds ordinance may affect how this project develops as well. Also, the Cottonwoods Pipelines project that was shown in the work session today appears to be a large, complicated project. And we in District 4 and possibly District 3 would greatly appreciate if the city kept us updated on the process, the progress and the choke points and parts where the okay.
Thank
yeah.
you, John. There is going to be a website that will have that. So.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you very much.
May I just ask, John Kennington, could you forward on to the council members the information about the 15-minute city concept?
Yes, I can do that.
That would be helpful.
What if I send it to you and you spread it out?
Well, I'll see that it gets to the city manager if you do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Tad Turgeon. For citizen comments. Okay, Larry Larson.
Good evening. I've heard that there is some effort to change the speed limit on Wasatch Boulevard to 35. And I'm here representing others that say we ought to leave it at 50. It's a state road, and I believe they're planning on making it 4 lanes. And there's a lot of traffic needs to move through there. And it can flow there better at the current speed without creating more of a backup and the complications and the risks of more accidents because the cars are just stacked up so much further beyond the canyon. So I'd recommend that we continue to have the 50-mile speed limit through there.
Thank you. Jen Cottom.
Hi, thank you. I am here partially representing the Active Transportation Committee. Last business session, Paula McFarland said that we wanted to go forward with the safe systems approach, and we wanted to reiterate that that's what we want to see being used as a guideline. And I just wanted to go over some elements of that. There are basically 5 elements to the safe systems safe transportation system approach. So first of all, you're using equality in addressing all modes of transportation. So it's not car centric and it's not bike centric. It's making sure all users are represented. Safe vehicles, incorporating the latest technologies is important and encouraging that. Safe speeds, and that's probably the biggest one that we've been talking about today in the business meeting. So I would encourage you to think about addressing what we can do now to slow the roads down. And one thing that came to my mind is anytime there's construction going on, we slow the roads down. It's not that hard. There's things that you can do now. They do it all the time, and there's obviously a need. It's been demonstrated recently. And just want to say give you my thanks for taking these suggestions to heart. Thanks.
Thank you. Don Smart.
I appreciate the opportunity to share some of my thoughts in regards to pickleball. My name is Don Smart. I lived in the Cottonwood Heights area for 27 years. And I appreciate all the due diligence that has been done on behalf of pickleball courts. And the goal is not to put a negative upon pickleball, but the nature of it, and because of the decibels being above the 70 limit, that is the concern. In my specific area, there are 6 backyards that join together, and there is a neighbor that is putting a pickleball court in, which is 13 feet from my property line. So the concern is of the noise, the lights, and I think that the city has done a great job with the lighting, but it's the sound ordinance that we're really concerning all of our neighbors. And this particular neighbor has tried to do it before the moratorium has been put in place. And so now as neighbors, we're saddled with responsibility of how to police that, especially because we know that we'll be above that 70 decibels that is required by the city. So that's the reason why that we appreciate all the effort that the council is giving on behalf of pickleball, because it truly does impact us as neighbors. Even when we're inside of our homes, the quality of life is truly diminished because of the sound constantly of pickleball. Also, it's not something that people do every once in a while. Pickleball is one of those things that it's almost habit forming. People love to use it over and over and over again. And so we appreciate all the concerns that is done on behalf of the residents. We love that 100 to 100 feet minimum requirement from a property line, but would hope that you would come up with resolutions so that we won't have to self-police our neighbors, and that we can live comfortably within the bounds of our own home and yard. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Dan Mills.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tempore and the council. My name is Dan Mills. I'm a resident of Cottonwood Heights. Moved here in 1982, moved away for a little bit. Glad to be back. And I live in Old Mill Estates, and I also own a physical therapy business in Cottonwood Heights. And I am so grateful. I saw on your agenda the discussion about Fort Union Boulevard, and I was very, very heartened by the discussion and the responses from staff. Even though at times I feel like it was a little bit, it felt a little bit combative, I really feel like the unity of the residents, and there are a lot of different steps that obviously need to happen that involve the Fort Union Master Plan, making sure appropriate studies are done, and we just don't execute knee-jerk reactions. But I want to reassure you that I believe that that most of the 30,000+ residents of Cottonwood Heights are anxious to see something improved, and the Fort Union Master Plan, along with the town center, along with form-based code, along with the opportunities that we have for economic development, all those things working together definitely give you the impetus that there's a desire for change on multiple levels and looking at it. And with a significant degree of citizen engagement on an issue, it's a great time to have lots of discussions and making sure that we're trying to play by the rules. I also am grateful that I saw pivots from both staff and council members as the attempts to listen to one another. I think that when we have an issue that occurs, it's not just about the issue. These are long-standing problems, and I would add to it the fact that Google Maps and Apple Maps have not done us any favors. I just want to register it that I'm really not that concerned about people that are traveling through our city. I want to favor the people that live here, the people that are visiting people that live here, and people that want to come here and spend a boatload of their money to help our tax base. Beyond that, them wearing out our roads and our police agencies, I don't know that we need to tax them any more than they're already taxed. So I'm grateful that we're taking it further down below Fort Union Boulevard in the discussion. I was grateful for the mayor's point, the possibility of looking at possibly narrowing the roads. That 30 years ago was how they existed. And there's a good argument to be made that if it doesn't look preferential on Apple Maps or Google Maps, the ability to quickly segue out onto 215 to get up even a couple of exits is so wonderful in our city. We've got at least 4 different ways that you can do that without impeding your trip and staying away from those school zones and allowing us to have a little bit more of a community feel. Thank you for your time. and your service.
Thank you. Lynn Kraus.
Good evening, council and staff. I agree with everything Dan Mills just said, and this is going to probably sound redundant, but that's what I wanted to talk about was the Fort Union Master Plan. So I met with the mayor a couple weeks ago, and he said you guys were going to focus on trying to lower the speed and make that street safer. So to that end, setting the speed based on an 85th percentile traffic study, in my opinion, could very well cause the speed limit to go up. So I don't think we should, I'm not saying it's a bad idea to do the traffic study, but to set a speed limit based on that number might not be the wisest thing. And I think that totally defeats the purpose of making our streets safer. We need to start by implementing this Fort Union Master Plan and redesigning streets where possible to make them safer. This plan was approved March 28th, 2017. If you look on the first couple pages, there were 42 residents that were involved in putting this together, not to mention the countless staff hours. Mike Johnson was here. Citizen surveys were done, citizen meetings were done. So there was a lot of public input on putting this plan together. And I want to read just one paragraph from here. There were 3 groups made up of this committee, and it says, although the groups work separately, all 3 groups presented road designs with very similar results and outcomes. All concepts included these key elements: landscape medians, wider sidewalks, slower speed limits, bike lanes, and trees and benches situated along the corridor. During a work session with City Council, group leaders presented their road design ideas and answered questions from council members. After that discussion, the City Council instructed staff to move with the preparation of the area plan. So a lot of work's been done. Let's not throw it away. I think this plan needs to be distributed to the people on the Hillside Advisory Council. They need to take this into consideration. Hillside Plaza is on Fort Union, and also make sure the Planning Commission is reminded of all the work that's gone into this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nancy Hardy.
Hi, City Council and everybody here. Lynn said about everything I was going to say, so I agree with her about the Fort Union Area Master Plan that was adopted. And I agree that the Hillside Plaza Citizen Advisory Committee should read over it and share some information with the residents that they're going to be representing. And I was one of the 42 on that. And we came up with some really good ideas along Fort Union, and to slow the traffic, to make it safe, wider sidewalks so 2 people could walk. It's really has some great ideas. So if you haven't read it, I encourage everybody to read it. And actually, on the city website, under city services, there's adopted and special plans, and there were 1 plan and other studies. So besides that master plan, there was a Fort Union corridor study by Zion Bank in 2015. There was another Fort Union study by University of Utah in 2015, and another study by BYU in 2013. And all 4 of those studies mentioned safety concerns along Fort Union, the roadway, walkability, biking, crosswalks, all the way back to 2013. So since everybody's talking about speed limits on Fort Union, I was wondering what % of cars drive over the speed limit? And what about the cars that run the red lights at Fort Union and Highland specifically? Is it easier to raise or lower speed limits? And what was the speed limit in 2005 when we incorporated? And what was the speed limit in 2013 when that first study was done? And all this plan and the studies, we've got great information at our fingertips. We should take advantage of that. And also, I'm just going to say a quote from the Zion Bank study. They said the transportation analysis of Fort Union, they had 3 key findings. they said that Fort Union's unique connective east-west grid, Fort Union has an opportunity to extend bicycling west from Big Cottonwood Canyon. Fort Union Boulevard should be a complete street supportive of all transportation modes. And secondly, they said Fort Union's not using all the natural and recreational corridors from Big Cottonwood Canyon. The city should look for ways to bring the activity and flavor of the Cottonwood Canyons to the greater Fort Union area. And third, Fort Union corridor suffers from indecision between being a regional corridor and being a local corridor. Currently, it's neither. It's too focused on high-speed auto traffic and too little active transportation support to be a
Thank you,
local
Nancy.
corridor.
And just because it's very quick, the speed has not been changed on Fort Union for at least the time in the city. So
Okay, but how about the number of cars?
that I don't. Kevin Dolan?
Hi, guys. Hey, thanks for doing this. I'm here again. It's been a while, but thanks to Ellen and Ellen's emails and Mickey Harris, I felt guilty enough. I said I got to show up at one of these things and give my 2 cents. And this is so. Thanks again. By the way, I'll be at. And I think you have a town hall next week, right? So I'll be at that. No, thanks very much. Since I've been here, I know there's been lots of good things you've done to Cottonwood Heights. And I just want to make sure you get some kudos on like this roundabout right out here by Brighton has worked out just great for everybody. I hit it not that often, but I'm sure the students love it. And then and Ferguson Park has turned out to be really good. I no longer have a dog, but I have lots of friends who are using it and they love it. And then paving Danish, again, I walk and ride bikes up there with my fellow geezer buddies all the time, and that's a tough place to walk on Danish. It's not bad for cycling if you're pretty quick, but walking can be a little risky. So anything I see, there's some money in the master plan for that. Anything you can do to kind of help out the walking part. There are certain areas in there that are pretty dangerous. You don't want to go there if you don't either have a light or you're really on your toes or pretty quick. But anyway, thanks for doing that. And also, I heard the previous comment about speeds on Wasatch. That speed limit really is 60. I know it's 50, but if it's 50, people go 60. It would be actually, I don't think it needs to be 50. Going 40 would be just fine. It's 40 on Fort Union, it's 40 on 94th. Keeping it fast just means if you're biking and they're going 60 next to you, that gets pretty scary, but we can manage that somehow. But anyway, thanks very much to Mickey and Ellen and all of you.
Thank you. Mike Falk.
Hello, my name is Mike Falk. I've lived in Cottonwood Heights a long time. I'd like to talk about campaign signs. Anybody who's driven down Highland Drive south of the intersection of Bengal and looked to the west has seen a bunch of signs, big signs. And I'm told that that property is not private property, it's some kind of a utility easement. And that those signs were asked to be removed, and they still have not been removed. As of this afternoon anyway, and I'm wondering why. I know a lot of other people's signs have been removed when they're in not appropriate places. Is there a double standard going on here or what? Why haven't those signs been taken down? I think that the voters of District 1 deserve an explanation and maybe even an apology for that. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Joanne Frost.
I'm Joanne Frost. I've lived here for way too long, since 1975. Um, but, oh, the mic closer. I really only have one serious complaint. As an original planning commissioner for this city in 2005 for 6 years following, Shane can verify this. We didn't meet in such a beautiful facility. That's the only real complaint I have. It's gorgeous. I want to commend you on what you're doing with this city. I look at the population and our population has dropped a little. And we know that by virtue of our high schools. And so that population will also affect the characteristics of how we develop our community and how our community is used. Fort Union is a beautiful thoroughfare for more than just ourselves, but it seems like it's getting close to time, and because the Hillside project is so closely related, this is a good time, along with the considerations that the research that was presented by the young lady just before me. I think you'll find some correlation between how this city is used. I tried really hard when I was a planning commissioner 10 years prior to becoming a commissioner here for Salt Lake County to get the bike trails to be acknowledged. We would have developers donate the land, do the improvements, put everything in, and County Parks and Rec would not allow them to be on their management maintenance funding, and they would give them back to developers. But I am pleased to see that through the corporate centers, some of that was preserved, and that beautiful park trail going through the corporate center is something that I feel very pleased about. I'm hoping, I'm from District 4, I'm hoping that our city will be beautiful and it will function beautiful. Safety is something we have the ultimate consideration for, even without saying. Robbie has done such a tremendous job. He came on board when I did, and our crime rate is low. We are serviced beautifully, and our traffic is just at certain times, it does get a little difficult, but I think we're on the right track. I'm going to stay really focused on what's going on here. So thank you for what you do.
Suzanne Highland.
Suzanne Highland, District 2. I just wanted to quickly thank the Planning Commission and the City Council for hearing out the various positions on pickleball courts. It is unprecedented. Everything that we've tried to research online is public courts and not private courts. And we're trying to take into account all points of view and peaceability and living here among our neighbors. So I have expressed interest before, and I will ask again to please do not make neighbors the enforcers of an ordinance. Any ordinance also that's on the books that can't be enforced is quite pointless, in my opinion. So one of the things I wanted to bring to your attention that I don't think has been brought up is existing pickleball courts. Of course, we can put a decimal meter out on a fence, and then we can bring evidence to the city, and that can be cited. How unfair is it to the people who are spending $30,000 to $50,000, which is the price tag of a game court, that they put it in and then they're not going to be able to use it because pickleball is obviously way above the decibel levels that are allowed in the ordinance. So please take that into account as well, that when there's a permitting process, when there's a sound study, it's actually fair all around, and it will reduce the problems and the heartache of, if I spent $40,000 on a pickleball court and then I couldn't use it, I would be ticked off. I would maybe even be really sad that I hadn't been warned, or there wasn't something that had at least made me take a step back and say, is this the best place for a pickleball court?
So, but thank you. You really have looked at this from all sides. And I think that's one more perspective to take into account as you look at this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Egan?
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm also here to talk about what I would call private sports facilities in people's backyards. And I applaud the efforts of the city to tackle this somewhat vexing and frustrating issue. I am a close neighbor to a backdoor neighbor to a court that's kind of in between. It was poured before the moratorium took place, but it's not finished. It hasn't been put into use yet. And I'm just concerned about how some of these rules ordinances that might come down would apply to existing facilities. Whether someone could argue I'm grandfathered in, and therefore whatever lighting restriction, whatever noise restriction you have doesn't apply to me. And I don't think that that would be fair to the neighborhood if someone was actually able to prevail with that argument. So these kinds of ordinances, I mean, you do have an existing rule on lighting, but someone could end run that by putting a light on their two-story house that's now close to their house because of setback. So that should be part of what you consider in this rule. I'm also concerned about the sound studies. 150-foot setback, which I heard discussed in your planning work meeting earlier today, is kind of arbitrary. If there's no sound science to back that up, I'm not sure that that would be sustainable if somebody tried to object in court to your ordinance. And so I think something, just to say that it's 1/4 of Park City's 600-foot setback ordinance may not be sufficient. So I would hope that you could back some of this up with science and not just make an arbitrary line. Anyway, I think it's great that the city is doing something about this topic, and I would offer my assistance. I'm a retired lawyer. I often worked drafting legislation and ordinances of this sort. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jennifer Young?
Hello, I am Jennifer Young and proud to be a 20-year resident of Cottonwood Heights and a business owner here. And I wanted to speak to the master plan for traffic and the virtues of slower speeds. So when I'm talking about this, I'm thinking, let's look global to find solutions for local challenges. And I think that we've all had opportunities to travel possibly abroad and in the United States, and we have a special place to come home to. Cottonwood Heights has so many benefits, and I think we're all grateful to be able to call this place home. When I look to Europe and other places like that, I see calming devices and traffic where slower speeds have been really positive for communities, pedestrian, cycle, and vehicle traffic. Interestingly, I spent the last month in Kathmandu Valley in Nepal. Traffic there is insane. I'm sure you can imagine where there's no lights, no stop signs, and people just go. And how is it, interestingly, that their valley and our valley have similar population sizes, and yet somehow they have fewer traffic accidents and fewer fatalities? And the crazy thing about that, it's because they have to go slower because there's so many cars and motorcycles on the road. They are sardines, just forced to crawl through traffic. And granted, their speeds are a lot slower than what we can accomplish here in our valley, but statistically, it's a safer place to be. And so my parting thought is that 5 miles slower on speed limit improves the reduction of fatalities by 30%. And speeding, just going 10 miles an hour faster than the speed limit, saves the average commuter only 26 seconds per trip, or 2 minutes over a week. And I think when we look at the big picture, we can save lives and get there just as well if we go slower. So thank you for supporting slower speeds in our community.
Thank you. Mickey Harris?
Hi, I know it's been a long night, but if I can just have your attention for just a minute, it would really help. Thank you, everybody. I think our message is really clear, and for the candidates that are in the room running, I hope you hear these residents. And I'm just hoping one noodle will stick to the wall tonight. Just coming here, I had a 16-year-old say, "Mom, there's a traffic accident on Golden Hills in Wasatch." And I said, "Well, what happened?" She said, "Well, I think they just weren't paying attention when they were making a left." And anyway, the guy seemed older. That happens. My daughter was dropping me off and we were coming down by Butler Middle School. And thank goodness for those chicanes, because here comes this biker. It's raining. You can't really see very well, but those reflections of that tire, we just thought, have you ever been in those situations where you're seeing the other car come and you're like, no, 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 please don't hit that cyclist. That chicane saved that guy's life tonight. Those are just simple things to slow our roads down. 2 days ago, we're coming up on the year where my sister-in-law, 44 years old, was hit on a bike, killed. 5 kids. My grandma was hit in a crosswalk, paying her tithing, coming back from church. Driver did not see her, hit her and killed her instantly. 4 days before Christmas, 2 days before my birthday. I want a noodle to stick. I don't want to be dismissed anymore. On the way over, I was listening to one of my favorite Icelandic bands called Kaleo. And in that lyric, it says, "I want more. I want more. I am not satisfied with getting cars faster." When you have a loved one die, you're not saying, "Oh, I sure hope they got to where they were going faster." You're not thinking that when your loved one dies. I want you to think about that. When you lose someone on a road, it changes how you design a road. I want you to understand that. So this verbiage of like, we can't do Vision Zero, it's urban. We can't do hawk crosswalks, they're too expensive. They take too much time. Sometimes it's just paint. Just narrow those roads. Make them narrow. Make them safe for everybody. Thank you.
Let's, it is noted below, let's not do the cheering or calling or anything like that, just so everyone feels comfortable making their comments. Thank you for your comments. Tad, I still don't know if it's Turgeon or Turgeon, but maybe you correct me or not, that's fine.
Thank you. My name's Tad Turgeon. I'm from District 4. I'm really nervous. I want to thank the council for letting me speak, and thank you for all the candidates. I saw you attended the meeting earlier. Thank you for taking action in our political process. I want to thank the council for the good things that have happened in this city. One of the gentlemen mentioned the roundabout. It's fantastic. It works. Everyone likes it. Oddly enough, some people don't. I don't get that part, but it's beautiful. I want to speak to Fort Union, and I want to say my opinion as a resident and a business owner in Fort Union is that we need to follow the master plan. And every time we deviate or not adhere to it, we get into a matter of debate. And so I think our mayor is aligned with dropping the speed on Fort Union. I'm speaking specifically to the issues we've had lately with traffic accidents in Fort Union, specifically at Bella Vista by the library. You know, there's been a call for hawk lights. I don't know what a hawk light is. I don't deal with that. But in my opinion, the day the first accident happened, there should have been a police light there. A light doing the speed or a warning sign. We have all these signs all over Cottonwood Heights that are portable that can tell the message. There was nothing there, but there was one hero there the next morning, and that was Matt Ship. His gentlemen were removing yard sale signs from that corner. So we know that we can do the right thing every single time. We know what to do. We're going to take care of our people in that area, and we're going to take care of that sign, the hawk lights, whatever it needs to go in there. Matt, you can print new signs tomorrow and put them up. You don't need permission from these people. You can just do it. You can be the hero. That's what it takes. This is a continued problem there. My wife works at that corner. It's not a corner, it's an intersection with a crosswalk. Cars screech to a stop there almost daily. She's called in with it. She's a teacher. There's a school across the street at Bella Vista. It's a high area for kids. It's a weird area. Let's own that. We didn't build it. We inherited it. It's not a crossing. There's a crosswalk there. So it's 40 miles an hour. Let's hope it's 35. It's bringing on a problem to that area. So rather than point blame, let's take care of it up front. If you want to do a traffic study, throw away $100,000, do a traffic study. But let's put some mechanical things in there now to slow people down. I support bike and foot traffic in Fort Union. Currently, it's harrowing. If you try to ride a bike or cross a Fort Union anywhere, it's not a good experience. I'd like to see this council cut through the red tape that's prevented that. As you go up and down Fort Union, I'll take one more second. You have excuses like State of Utah owns that land, Murray owns that land, Holiday owns that land. I'm looking to you as our elected officials to work with those towns, those state or agencies, and get the sidewalks built on Fort Union, get Fort Union completed end to end, make it look right, make it work right, make it so we can walk this neighborhood. That's what I want, and that's what I'm asking for, and I'm gonna come back and hopefully work with you folks. I support Hillside
Thank you,
Plaza,
Chad.
and love to be part of that.
Yeah, keep things equitable. I've got one more, Randy Long. If there's someone who's come in late and wish to speak, fill out a. Go ahead and come up. If there's someone else that wishes to speak, go ahead and fill out a. Okay, well, thanks for pointing that out, because apparently my eyes are.
Yes, my name is Randy Long. I've lived in Cottonwood Heights here for over 50 years. In 69, we moved, October 69, we moved in. And like to speak on the Bonneville Shoreline Trail. And I'm in favor of that trail. I'm an avid hiker and camper myself. I'm in definite favor of that trail being finished. It's done, well, pretty much finished the Ferguson Canyon out from Big Cottonwood. When they get that done, they're finished, they want to go on to Death Smith. But I think the whole thing should be finished as soon as possible. Now, some other cities like Sandy City and Draper City got signs all over the place that say no hiker parking. They just allow you to have a few places where you can park. And that's not the thing to have either. We need to allow parking on adjacent streets. Because like at Draper, you got Coyote Hollow, that it's a pretty good sized parking area. It's full. Where you going to park? You're going to park clear over at Red Rock, place called Red Rock, which is a good mile west of there on the Bonneville Shoreline Trail again. Or down at the arena and hike up from there, get a good mile. And they're forgetting the longer the hike is, the harder it is. And that might put some places even out of question for some people. So again, I think we do need to finish the Bonneville Shoreline Trail bad, but we do need to allow parking on adjacent streets. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Paul, if we can get, it's Runar.
I just had to unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
My name is Rumor Bowman. I live in District 3, and I've just been listening to the comments about the master traffic plan. Just a few observations. I'm a lifelong cyclist, road cyclist. I ride up the canyons and south into Draper in those areas. So I have to traverse along Wasatch Boulevard to get where I'm going. It's an insanely busy road, and I understand that, and that's not my concern. You know, well, my concern is the talk about putting sidewalks or having people walk along Wasatch Boulevard, which is absolutely insane. Putting walkers alongside bicyclists going upwards of 30 miles an hour is a really bad idea. My main concern with motorists is not their speed, it's that they're distracted, looking at their phones or something else. That's my main concern that all cyclists share is the distracted driving. It's not so much the speed. When you're going fast, you're in your lane, that's not a problem. It's when you're swerving off the road because you're not paying attention, that's the problem. So this whole emphasis on speed, I think, is a little misplaced in many cases. When it comes to Fort Union Boulevard, I live near there. Walking along that road, you'd have to be insane to walk along that road. It's extremely unpleasant experience, and no one does it. It's either hot or it's cold. You just don't do it. Where are you going to walk to? You're going to walk to Home Depot? No, you're not. You're going to drive your car. So this whole notion that we want to slow down, we want to make this multi-use road, putting cyclists and walkers alongside a busy road is insanity. It's extremely dangerous, and it's a really bad idea. So this whole talk about slowing everything down is going to make everything wonderful. No, that's not going to happen. You're going to make it more congested. You're going to make it more dangerous, and you get more people hurt by putting everybody onto this one transportation pathway. So I think you should really seriously consider all this talk about making this roadway into some kind of like a European little quaint little, utopia roadway that everybody's going to be walking along and singing and laughing. It's a highway. It's a high volume road. That's what it does. It moves people in the most efficient manner. Bad idea to try to change that. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Excuse me. Is there anyone else that wanted to speak? We have a few more minutes before we officially close comments. All right. Oh, that's right. See, that's why he gets paid the big bucks, because he can remind me that I said, hey, remind me.
Yeah, we just had a number of individuals submit speaker comment cards for tonight electronically, and they're part of the record. We forwarded them to the city council, so you have them for comment. We do not read them. They're part of the record. They'll be sent into the Utah Public website, but we do not read them, and it's defined in our agenda that we do not. But I will indicate who provided the comments. One was from Holly Josephson about sidewalk issues. Two of them were Audrey Pines related to issues with the transportation master plan and other things related to that. And then the other one was from Mary Ellen Johnson, had concerns with a business called the Gear Room. So those are the items. They're part of the public record now. They've been forwarded to the city council.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll close the citizen comment section of our meeting. I know a number of people discussed the transportation master plan, but I will open a public comment section for that. If there's anyone that would like to make additional comments specific to the transportation master plan, please let us know or fill out a card. Seeing none online, I will go ahead and close that public comment period. On our action items, we have resolution 2023-57, which is approving an independent contractor agreement for land use hearing officer services. A number of years ago, we disbanded now I'm drawing a complete blank, Board of Adjustments in favor of a hearing officer. That has been working well. We've had a need to change that. So Tim, you can describe, I guess, what I probably should have let you from the beginning.
Oh, that's fine. We went through a request for proposals process to fill this position and received 3 submittals on that request for proposals. Frank Nakamura is an individual that I've selected for appointment and I'm recommending approval by the city council. He has around 30 years of experience of municipal government work. I know him from past work, and he knows all about these issues and will do a great job. So I'm recommending approval of him to be appointed in this position.
Okay, do we have any comments or a motion by the council?
I move that we approve.
I'll second that.
Been moved by Councilmember Holton and second by Councilmember Burrell. Is there any other discussion? Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Member Burrell.
Yes.
I will vote. All right, the next item is Resolution 2023-58, approving appointment to the Arts Council. Tim, would you brief us on that?
Yes, I had the opportunity to interview Laura Paulson Howe, who submitted an application to serve on the Arts Council. She has a very extensive experience in arts work, a variety of different areas. She's excited to serve. It's the right time in her life to serve on this committee, and I'm recommending approval of this. And she has plenty of time to do that at this time as well. So recommending approval of this appointment.
Thank you. And I would encourage anybody that's listening or anyone that's here to come by City Hall at least once a month, because the Arts Council puts on displays out in the foyer, and it's just amazing to see the talent and the amazing things that get put up. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2023-58.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councilmember Newell and seconded by Councilmember Burrell. Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
And I'll go in that order because reading down is easier than bouncing around like the mayor does. He's brave. All right, I looked that I voted yes, but yes, I will vote yes for the record. I apologize. See, good thing there's people to help. Our consent calendar involves the minutes for the CDR business meeting and the council meeting on October 17th. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, last item would be adjournment.
Make the motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you to everyone for coming.